This is Season 2 of the Books as Bad as Twilight podcast,
where we're reading Harry Potter and the Cursed Child by Jack Thorne.
Visit us at our website, www.babatpodcast.com.
Get lost with us in the magical world of Harry Potter.
Not
Season 2.
Shit. Still not good.
I'm so excited for that.
Oh man. My god. So this is recording, right?
Yeah, I figure we can do our little banter beforehand.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
My exact notes for Polyjuice is Polyjuice explanation LOL.
That's literally what we wrote in our notes.
Yes.
For the book. So you wrote these notes after you saw the play?
Mm-hmm.
Nice, okay.
Because I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget. And then this morning I went back through them. This is technically a rewrite of ones I had done before.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted... That time travel, though, is my good notes.
Oh, man.
Because it's pretty cool.
It's the way
amazing.
they do it? Okay, we'll have to...
Oh.
But you're laughing, though, so, amazingly
so,
funny? Wait, hold on.
So it was so good.
Wait.
Yeah. Wait.
Well, okay.
That's actually it. I gotta...
Okay, so, welcome. This is Books as Bad as Twilight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Brittany.
I'm Danielle.
And I'm Katie.
Woohoo! Who are you, Katie?
I am a friend of Brittany's from college, and I'm also a very large Harry Potter fan. I've read all the books multiple times. I love to delve into books, and I also happen to have seen the play that they are currently destroying.
And you also did our cover art.
Indeed.
I'm a graphic designer in real life, and I did the logo and the other stuff that goes with it.
Yeah. Do you want to plug your website?
If you ever want to follow me, I follow me at kheartgraphics.com. I've got links to my Instagram on there, which I believe is khearttongue, HERTONGUE, because it's a play on my last name. Yeah. I do illustration and design. Pretty fun follow, I guess.
Cool.
Thanks.
Nice.
Good. So,
All right, so today we're going to be talking about the actual play, not just the script.
yes, because we know someone who's seen it, and we're very happy to actually discuss it.
And we got lucky enough to get in to
Yeah.
get those tickets.
That's very true.
Oh, let's talk about that, because I don't know that story.
So you had to sign up months in advance. It's a lot like how they're doing concerts these days. You know, you sign up for a waiting list to get to a waiting list to maybe buy a ticket.
It's a lottery.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A lottery system.
So we were able to get in, and we were able to see both parts in one day, which was also unusual. So, I'm a theater geek, so I like to go to the theater doors after. And so when we went to go meet them, and I met Ron, and it was awesome, and he kissed my cheek, and I have a picture of it.
Nice.
And so we're standing there in New York, and we're only from Philly, so it's no big deal. And I'm standing next to kids from Florida and South Carolina,
wow.
and people from other countries. There were people from Puerto Rico who had, this is people who can't quite make it all the way across, but still have to come from California in order to see this play. So we were able to get tickets against this entire
All odds. Nikki got
community.
them, right? Yeah.
Miss Lucky herself. Side note, she also was able to get us pit tickets to Ed Sheeran because I don't know.
She's really good at getting tickets to things.
As we call it, we don't know what she sacrificed to RN Jesus because we play a lot of games.
That's awesome. Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So, what was your overall feeling of the play? Okay, so you did read the script
I've read the
beforehand.
script.
Did you read it before or after you saw it?
Before.
Okay.
So let's
went
talk about
at
that
midnight.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I went at midnight. I had not missed a Harry Potter midnight book release since I had been 10. So I was going. And I did. And I read it all. I read it all in one sitting because it really was pretty easy. And being involved in theater, I was like, oh, this shouldn't be a big deal. I can read stage direction. This is fine. That's not.
How did you feel about the stage direction?
I actually wrote down a specific quote that really got me because I was like, you know what? It is really strange. Yeah. So at one point, and I can't remember where it was, but I was flipping through my book, and they say in the stage direction, we enter a never world of time change, and the scene is all about magic, and this change is rapid.
That is the staircase scene, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fine. You're fine.
So I can't remember what it was for, but I was going through and reading it, and I was like, you know, for something that took 2 sentences, and it's poetic, and it's nice, that was probably 8 minutes of stuff happening.
Oh, really?
Like, the staircase... The staircases, there's 3 scenes that involve staircases. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think, and they're all amazingly impressive.
Really?
They are full-sized. So the thing to go in, which I did not realize, is that it is very choreographed like a musical. There's just no singing. And there's still music throughout the entire thing. Mm-hmm. Imogen Heap does the soundtrack.
No way.
Yeah, it's
really
amazing.
Is that on iTunes? I would love to hear that.
So she mostly uses stuff she's already done.
Oh, okay.
So, like, if you're familiar...
Kevin's going to have a boner. He loves Imogen. He wants to name our daughter Imogen.
Well, it's a great name. Yeah. And also she's crazy and delightful. But, so a lot of the Death Eater stuff is the song Headlock. You know, because it's so beat-driven. That's most of the Death Eater stuff. When they're really fighting against each other, the back is the chords to Hide and Seek, which I also have really good music here, so the whole time I'm like, oh my gosh, wait, I know this song. Mm-hmm. So it was easy for me to pick it up and say, oh my gosh, she's using these feelings from other songs and putting them in this musical that really just had no singing. Yeah. But the choreography was incredible. Which is weird because it's a play.
Yeah.
Right. Huh. I noticed that in one of the pictures I showed you. It's like, looks like they're dancing.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
I don't remember
I'll have to show you again. Yeah.
And that's what really pushed it for as much as I did not like this. You
did not like the book, but you liked the play.
Yes.
So that's how we were talking about it. We were like thinking there's so many issues with the script when it comes to how it correlates with the original 7 books, and it also contradicts itself in the play, like how the characters relate to one another. We're saying that we think the play will be better to watch.
Yes.
And maybe just take the Harry Potter name out of it.
To be honest, after I saw the whole thing, I think they never should have released that book. Because it came in with too many expectations. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is this is that. Mm-hmm. And it's not. And I don't think they should have done it.
So, because this is a rehearsal script, do you think they changed a lot from the actual rehearsal to the
Some
play?
Some of it was different. Specifically, something that stood out to me is when Harry says to Scorpius, or says that Albus cannot see Scorpius anymore.
Yeah.
And when I read it, I was like, that is such a not Harry thing to do. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, in the play, it was much more obvious that this is a different timeline. You have to remember, it's a similar timeline.
Yeah, we were
discussing that, whether or not it's going to be a different timeline.
That is a different timeline, technically.
Okay.
So, in that timeline, certain things didn't happen, and so Harry is not as mature in that timeline. And to be fair, he thinks he's protecting his kid, who has been making stupid decisions.
Yeah.
And the first thing he is told is he keeps having these... Well, Harry is told from... Now I can't remember. But there is some sort of vision.
Yeah.
That
Bane, I think.
there is a dark... Bane.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a darkness hanging over Harry's son. So it's a different timeline. You know, Harry is told by this terrifying, because Bane's pretty terrifying, and it is very cool to see how they do.
We were
Bane.
wondering of that, remember?
Yeah. So they keep it dark. The way they do a lot of it is, I think, and I don't know, I didn't look into it as much, but I think the stage must slope in the back, and there's a lot of backlighting. So you can't see things that are happening. Specifically, the first thing is they're getting ready for the Hogwarts Express.
Mm-hmm.
The opening scene is the last scene in the movie. And they're getting ready to go on the train, and they're all in their human clothes. Mm-hmm. And they run at the audience, and there's a big bang, and everybody's in robes.
Cool.
It's insane.
How did they do that?
No idea, because they turn. Like, they make a point of turning so you can see the robes are not on their backs.
Yeah.
Like, they make a very specific, like...
It must be Velcroed or something.
It's insane.
Quick change.
Yeah.
They become quick change artists.
And everyone... But it's the whole stage that does it.
Yeah.
So there's like 30 people on this stage that run and turn into their robes. People were screaming.
That's pretty cool.
Wow.
And that's it. I mean, it won almost every award that it was nominated for at the Tonys, but it won every tech award, and it deserved it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
And they do stuff similar. I'm sure as we go further in, we'll talk more.
So, like, when you were talking about it was very obvious that it was a different timeline. So how do they convey the different timelines? Like, color scheme? By music score?
It's both. Because I wanted to make sure I got it right. So it's with choreography and lighting and the sound effects.
Okay.
And they're acting, so they are able to move like things are changing.
Okay.
So I don't know how familiar you guys are with Disney.
She's more familiar than
So,
I am, obviously.
Disney got super famous for just patenting this technology. It's called 3D mapping. And 3D mapping takes tiny, tiny projectors and shoves it all mathematically so that it's on something. And it is really famous for being used on Cinderella's Castle. They're doing it on the Chinese theater now. And it's starting to get bigger because it's really cool.
Yeah.
So they use 3D mapping on the stage.
Okay.
So it's actually, that's how they do a lot of it, and you don't realize it until this is happening. So while a lot of the sets are really sets, they're mostly projections.
Onto another screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
It's
really cool.
Really impressive.
They did it in Les Mis, too.
Yes, it's similar to Les Mis, but it is better. Les Mis, because I saw Les Mis, that was really impressive too.
Yeah.
And it is really close to that, but they, being New York, and that they don't move around, they can project out the whole thing.
Wow.
So they're able to do the sides of the room. They can do up into the ceiling. Mm-hmm. So because they don't move, I mean, and it's stuck there. So this is actually the second time.
So it will never go.
It will, if it ever leaves. They'll probably put something else new, because this is actually the second time I've been in the Lyric Theater. I saw Spider-Man in the Lyric Theater.
I know somebody who was in that show. That's funny.
Not a good show.
No. I haven't heard good
Oh,
things.
the girl?
Yeah.
They went to go see? Yeah.
Not good. But I've been in the Lyric Theater before, and it was insane to see how they just basically gut it for every show, which is normal.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's usually what they do, is they keep like the bones of what is there, but use it to push the theme of whatever you're supposed to be living in.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So what they do for the time is they make it very obvious by being in the center. It's actually a lot like in the third movie when they're in the hospital wing.
Yes.
They always are in the same spot, and they make a point of keeping it where the clock tower is. So they use the mapping to put the clock tower above them. And it's little. Not little, but it's enough that you're not overwhelmed. Oh, they're at the clock tower.
So every time they time jump, they're at the clock tower?
Yes.
So that's interesting.
Yes.
Because we were wondering.
They specifically say in this that they could jump time but not space. So...
I make really great faces, everybody.
So it's interesting that in the play that they are always at the clock tower.
Always at the same spot. And then they'll go to other places.
I'm sorry, I kind of jumped in on you, Danielle. I apologize.
No, but you're right. No. Yeah, you're saying basically what I was saying.
Yeah.
There's one time where they're going somewhere else. And that's when, towards the end, when it starts skipping so quickly, it moves really fast and that's the only time. Now you're so used to it. This is like time 6 that you get it. So they use the lights to speed it up. So like I said, it was from 6 or 7. That's when it starts getting a little strange, because then...
Do they jump 6 times in the book?
Not only are Albus and Scorpius jumping, we have to remember then Hermione, Ron, and Ginny and Harry are jumping, trying to find them. And then there's parts where Delphine is trying to jump.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's how they separate it. And they do it, because in the book, that's what got me. I was like, where are we even at now? And... when I read it, I remember looking at my fiance and being like, I'm assuming this comes across better because I don't even know what year we're in at this point.
Yeah.
And it does. They do a good job by changing the clothes. So while everyone's wearing robes, you can see at one point when they are in the 80s, they're wearing a different kind of shirt under the robe. So you're like, oh, they're in the 90s. This is 1994. This is... when they're at the Triwizard Tournament. Oh, wait a minute. Look at how that person's dressed. That's the 80s. We're back in Halloween 82.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So that works out better. But when they actually do time, it is crazy. So they do it like they're able to make the screens look like fast forward. When, like in the 3rd movie, when they're standing there and everything else is moving around them, they actually can do that on the projector.
That's cool.
And when it stops, the entire stage like warps out and back in using this technology,
neat.
and it's insane. I tell you, so every time it happened, people clapped and screamed because it was not boring by the last time. It was amazing.
I'm looking up the exact description of how the stage direction talks about turning time. So, hold on. This is going to be a little bit, so you guys can continue talking if you want.
Well, that's actually a good thing to look up, because and that's when I looked up this one little line, like, it's all about magic. The change is rapid. Well, that's like 8 minutes of people doing choreography and things changing.
That's interesting. Okay. I would really...
It sounded like you had a question about it.
No, I was thinking where I wanted to go because there's so many things I want to ask. That's why. I want to wait until you find that description.
I also was lucky enough that it's still the original London cast in America.
Is it really?
Everyone is original still.
Do you know? I wonder when that changes. That's interesting.
Most people usually do a year.
Yeah.
So I don't really know when that will change. I mean, this is obviously a great gig.
Yeah.
But the person who plays Scorpius, whose name is Anthony Boyle, really steals the entire thing.
Thank God. We love Scorpius.
And the way that he portrays him is so good, because you don't get in the play that this kid obviously is on the spectrum of some kind. He in the beginning can't even speak to people. He screams when he's talking. He's like, I can't talk to you, and like doesn't talk, and he'll cover his head, and it's really obvious to see that no wonder people don't talk to him.
That's not how I pictured it at all.
So then by the end, he's really able to speak and have conversations and isn't afraid of people anymore. And they kind of say it, because I did go back and look. They're like, oh, he was shut in because his dad didn't want him in the outside world. And you don't really get that this kid has no social interaction skills at all until you see it.
That's really interesting.
And it was so well done. And I don't think they really mention in the book that, like, yes, he's a shut-in, but they never say things,
They never said he was a shut-in.
They don't.
They never said it.
I was going to say, I never...
I mean, in the play, they do mention, because there's a specific line, I can't remember where it is, where Malfoy, with Draco, says something, that's why I didn't let him outside, the world was cruel. Or something along those lines.
I don't remember that in the book, though. Do you?
I don't remember. It's been... Yeah. I read this when it came out, and then that was about it.
I'm trying to think. I wonder, is that like...
Because we often talked about... Albus being like that, because I think it's our first episode when we dive into this where we say specifically, why doesn't Albus know who Scorpius is? Like, because we feel that like Albus is separated from the wizarding world, but we never felt that Scorpius was.
No,
so it's really interesting.
It's made pretty apparent that they all know who Scorpius is.
Yeah. Because on the train, when they first go off to Hogwarts, he goes to sit with Scorpius. Albus goes to, like, sit or talk to Scorpius. And Rose is like, don't you know who that is? Like, that's Scorpius.
Right.
And Scorpius Malfoy. And it's like, well, why can't I sit with him? And it's like, well, then Scorpius explains that he might be the son of Voldemort, or the rumor is, rather. So is that how that scene played out?
Is how it plays out, but it's much more that Albus is being defiant. He's like, I don't care what you have to say. This kid has no friends. And Scorpius is the first person who's nice to him. Like, he just got done being bullied by James, who was only in, like, one scene. Yeah. And I thought it was funny. And you never see this kid again.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Well, we talk about that, too. You don't... Some of these people are there, and then they're gone, and then there are other characters that we want to see or should be shown, and they're not there.
Yeah, you never really see James again, but they mention him, and Lily shows up a couple more times. Like, Lily's in the background more, and they compare him to her a few times. Not
who?
Compare Albus.
Albus to Lily?
Yeah, Albus is like, well, I'm not perfect like James, or amazing like Lily, or something.
Okay. Yeah.
They make a couple comments, they exist, and you see her, because they make a big deal in one scene of Lily walking by and then covering her face because she does not want to see him.
Is that the sorting scene by chance? Do you remember?
Nope, not the sorting scene. It's later on. It's a little bit older.
Okay. Interesting.
So I found the Time Turner description.
Okay.
Cool.
Albus takes the Time Turner from Scorpius. He presses down upon it, and the Time Turner begins to vibrate, then explodes into a storm of movement. And with it, the stage starts to transform. The boys look at it, and then there is a giant whoosh of light, a smash of noise. Time stops, then it turns over, thinks a bit, begins spooling backwards, slow at first, and speeds up. And it describes that a couple of times. It talks about how it goes, thinks, scrolls back, and all that type of stuff. So you think that they convey that well with 3D modeling?
Way better than that. But
description.
But what were you going to do in that kind of description? I mean,
Well, that's what we were discussing. Like, how do you convey that? You know, like, how do you convey that on stage? It was what we... Yeah. Because I don't know... I've only ever seen Les Mis. So it's very interesting reading the stage direction, because I'm used to... when I read plays, it's like Shakespearean, where they describe the clothing, the set scene, enter stage, left or right, and all that type of stuff, which is lacking in this book. So we didn't know how that was going to be brought up on stage. So it sounds like they had a lot of different creative liberties.
Yeah, for sure.
Taking it from the script onto stage.
Which is interesting, because it doesn't come off that way when you read the script, because it's so kind of specific in its stage direction. So that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. But in weird ways. It's specific in weird ways.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
So reading the book, how did you feel about Albus?
I thought he was whiny.
And how did you feel about him?
Still whiny.
Wait, but okay.
But nothing happened. None of this would have happened if Albus had just... I mean, but the thing is that he is so insecure about being in Slytherin, and you can see it now. Like, the biggest thing that got me was I thought Harry was being a terrible father in this book.
Mm-hmm.
In the play, you really get it. Because Harry's trying his best to say, you can do whatever you want. And Albus starts making this stuff up in his mind, like how terrible his father is. So like I said, I haven't read it since this came out. But the scene with, when he's talking to Cedric's dad.
Yes.
Afterwards, seeing the actor on stage, there is a solid minute where, after everything has happened, you can see how physically distraught this actor is. The whole thing cuts out, and it's just a spotlight with him, and his head is in his hands, and you can see... With Harry, that Harry wanted to help him, and he is just so cut up by this entire situation. And they don't get that across in the book at all, because it's like Harry says, no, I can't do it. No, I can't.
Right.
Why are you here, Amos? Why are you here? Like, and in the play, just being able to see him be upset, and Ginny comes out and like pats his shoulder and leave. Like, so they wouldn't put it in there, but she never. Yeah, because they like hug, and she's basically saying visually, "I know this is upsetting, but you did the right thing," and they do not mention that at all in the book because it's such a big thing that Harry is super cut up by it. But Albus doesn't see that part. Albus sees his dad.
Because he's in the other room.
He's at the top of the steps. And Albus just sees his dad being this terrible person. And then this pretty girl comes and talks to him after he's been being made fun of at school. And no one is concerned how she's in here.
That's what we were wondering.
That's what we said.
No one is and that's because, like, Harry doesn't really see her. He thinks that she's outside the whole time because then you see her come in to get Amos and he's like, you have to get him out. But she comes from a whole different way.
Right.
So it doesn't look like she's been in the house. Harry had no idea she was in the house.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a part where Amos is calling for her. And it's like, wait, aren't they wondering where she is? Well, she might not hear if she's outside the house. Like, it might take her a little while.
Sense,
yeah, the steps are on stage left, and Harry and everything is happening on stage right. And when she shows up, she comes out from, like, behind the steps. But then she goes back down and, like, around and comes back out the other way. So they don't say specifically, like, oh, she was outside or oh, she was this. But she comes from a way that does not make it look like she had been creeping into the house.
Yeah.
Like a creeper.
Yeah.
Interesting. Like, we were making fun of that when we were recording, because also she's described in here as being 20-something year old, and Albus at this point is 14. And so she's like, hey, like, come visit me sometime at the retirement home and stuff. And it's like, isn't that weird and creepy?
So few people talk to him. It's literally just him and Scorpius that he was kind of like, oh, pretty girl. But she looks about 19 or 20. That's the way that they do it in the play. Okay. So it looks like she only would have just not been in school.
Okay. So it is early 20s then. For it then. How do you feel that I'm asking all these questions? I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Because I'm very curious about it. How do you feel about the characterization, like the actor's portrayal of the people? Because a big thing while we're reading this is we don't feel that the dialogue from the characters match what they would be in real life. And now I'm basing this off what you described as the interaction between Amos and Harry and how Harry is distraught. That seems true to character.
Yes.
But Ron doesn't seem true to character. McGonagall doesn't seem true to character.
McGonagall was not correct.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened with this girl. The girl was obviously American, had no good Scottish accent. She was super young. Like, I want to say, and then she came out and we didn't even know it was her when we were at the stage door. That was really bizarre. However, Ron was awesome. And it doesn't come across.
He's a complete idiot in this book.
Yeah, and it's not like it really. He does a great job. Okay. He really does an amazing job. There's one scene when he's messing around with, I think, Lily, and he's like, "Oh, I got your nose," and in the book it's like, and Ron plays a joke. Yeah. It's a dad joke.
It says a dad.
Thank you. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
So in the play,
everyone laughs at its lameness, is what it says.
Yes, that's right.
And it's freaking funny when you see it.
Is it really?
Yeah, because like they use a little bit of some lighting. And it's like, oh, the nose reappears and ha ha ha. And it's their interaction that Ron is this cool uncle, that he loves these kids. No matter what, he does care about this family. He's not weird Rupert Grint chilling in the back at the end.
Yeah. That's so true. That's right. I forgot about the epilogue like that.
Do you feel like it was true to the original character then?
Yes.
Original character?
Yeah, the only one was McGonagall. I was like, what the hell is happening
She's
here?
such a pushover in this fucking script.
It's weird.
It's a shame because there's sometimes when she's not that bad and then other times where it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
It was weird. Like, it was bizarre. It wasn't even as if this girl was a great actress and they were like, you know what, we'll get over the accent.
It just didn't play well at all.
No.
Yeah.
But she's not really in it. I mean, overall, it's maybe 5 minutes of stage time.
Really?
Yeah, it's almost nothing.
Because she's in it pretty regularly.
And that's
she
what I
pops
meant.
up.
That's what I wanted to try to convey, the time stuff. I mean, this is a 6-hour play.
Yeah.
It is
damn.
6 hours. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes for the first part, and the second was 2 and 35. Mm-hmm. It's a long-ass play. And it does not feel that long at all, actually. It
That's
went
good.
very quickly. Yeah. But like I said, when they're doing the time turning, that's probably a 30-second
transaction
part of time.
Yeah.
Words. And stuff like that. So when they're sitting, and they add this other stuff, Harry walking across the stage, and there's times when they just sit and you can see that they're thinking, and it's maybe 15 seconds, but it adds in.
Yeah.
A lot of the times when they start talking to McGonagall, I mean, the only times really is when they're in her office, and she doesn't even say much in the office, but they're all having the fight in the office.
Yeah.
But that's because they need to be there, and she basically is like, why can't you do this at the Minister of Magic's office? Since, you're friends with her, can you go do this somewhere else?
Yeah.
And a lot of the times when they're at Hogwarts and they are in her office, she's not really a part of it, and it's really not long.
Interesting.
It's only a little bit of time. And that's what I said with seeing it in the play versus the book, not realizing that when Harry says to Albus, you can't see Scorpius ever again.
Yeah.
It's only like a 4-minute until he's like, I'm sorry, that was wrong of me. It's not long.
Interesting.
It's maybe
Really?
4 or 5 minutes. It's immediate in the play. Like, he realizes he messed up.
I think they changed a lot then. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, even in reading it, I personally thought, I know we discussed this, but I thought it was a quick jump as well. So it's interesting how you're saying that some things took so long of a time, and then some are just quickly sped up. That's interesting.
I think it's interesting that the plot is sped up, but the special effects are long. Because you said that when they turn time or stuff, that could take about 8 minutes, or however you said.
So each time thing was about 30 seconds, just in addition, to show that they're doing it. But some things did take a lot longer than you'd realize. They take a lot of time, not a lot of time, but showing that at the beginning of Act 2, which is a whole nother cool thing.
Okay.
So obviously we've read the part. This is a bit of a spoiler because this really got me.
That's okay. This is
this will come
at the end of the
I
season.
did not know that this was going to happen, and I'm into branding, right? That's my whole life. So when you walk in to see the play the first time, like, oh my goodness, it's Harry Potter. Here's this sweatshirt, and Cursed Child. Oh, it's wonderful. The stage when you're waiting is the clock tower shining down. It's so pretty. I've got picture. It's so then they kick you out. So they kick you out because they need to reset everything. You cannot be in there because when you come back in, everything is silver and green. The entire thing is gone. All these sweatshirts are gone. Now they're dark marks. Now there's posters on the wall that say join, join, join. Yeah. It's amazing.
That's pretty damn cool.
That is cool.
So
I did hear about that.
So they got rid of everything that had to do with, it's Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. And when you're walking in, it's like you are in the new regime.
Okay.
Wow.
Here, sign up, do the there. It was amazing.
Yeah. So the second play.
When you come in for the second half.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So they start, and so they take this time to really immerse you in this world. And that's what. So
that's impressive.
That is cool.
That's very impressive.
They do a really good job of it, and it was important for me to remember that it is a different interpretation. This is different people. J.K. had the idea and let people expand on it.
But she said it's canon.
It is, and I can see there's only a few things to get me about that. Because the one thing I was thinking of was when they do the was it the Fidelius charm? Right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Well, here's the thing. There are a bunch of times in the whole series when you could be like, well, can't they not talk about that because of the Fidelius charm? I mean, it's really strange because if it really was that big of a deal, people wouldn't even be able to see the house. Because Harry was involved, Hagrid shouldn't have even been able to find baby Harry anyway. So the Fidelius charm is iffy at best to begin with.
But one thing that really caught us off was the polyjuice potion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that is on my list of things.
That you hated or that you liked.
No, the one thing that could have happened is they are in Mathilda Bagshot's house. And when he does say, oh, I can make this potion, maybe it was already in there. Because you don't see it. Like, you don't see it happen. It's real quick. So, I mean, it is her house. Who knows what's in there?
Yeah,
but that's
true.
just...
So she has a stockpile of...
I don't know, that lady's crazy. We've seen the movies.
Yeah. That's true. I forgot, because I haven't finished. I mean, I've read the play before.
Whose house?
They're in Mathilda Bagshot's house.
Yeah, so I'm talking about the first time, though.
Which one?
The part where
Delphi
for the Ministry of Magic.
She acts like she already has it. She's pretty much like, oh, it's here. And it does look like time passes. Because it does make it go, because they wonder where she is at one point.
Yeah.
So because they're like, oh, we haven't seen her. Oh, here she is. So it has been time in that one. It's just the second one that's obnoxious.
Okay, so, because how this book reads, they jump off the train, they go to the nursing home, find her, they hatch the plan. But on the same timeline, Harry and Ginny are having the conversation. I have a big issue with time in this. Only because... And
it's hard to... And that was what made the play so much better, is you can... Because they use lighting for days.
It feels like months have passed. Like, they've had to be missing for weeks. But the way that they portray it, it's the next day they're searching for him, then they can't see anyone anymore.
Yeah, they find him almost immediately. Like, I think he gets...
That's why it's confusing.
So when he gets there, because they realize immediately that they're gone.
Yeah.
And I think they find them, like, that day.
Right.
It's not...
So all the conversations between them and them finding them, is that a different timeline?
They do a lot of... The way they try to show it is, a lot of this is happening at the same time.
Yeah.
So it'll be like, oh, they're talking, we need to find them. Here's what's happening over here. Oh, we need to do this. Okay, wait a minute. Oh, the trolley witch says they came off the train. Where could he have gone? Oh my gosh, didn't he hear me? Oh, this is where he is. Like, that's maybe a couple hours in playtime. So they find them pretty quick. And they go back to school pretty quickly.
So what we were just talking about was after they get back from the third version of time with the Voldemort regime, we were wondering how, like, it felt like we weren't sure how long Scorpius is actually in that timeline.
They get they really don't. That one was a little bit harder. I mean, I want to say, to me, I thought it was maybe 5 or 6 days. That one seemed
interesting.
Longer. That one was way longer because...
Wait, which one? I'm sorry.
The third timeline with Scorpius and the Voldemort regime.
That one seems to be the longest.
Which we thought was...
months.
Yeah, from reading it.
Because
it's really... That one is really difficult to tell, but I think that he even says it, that it doesn't... I think he says it's about a week. Because I think he says it's been 5 days of this or something.
Oh, does
they don't say that specifically.
So maybe
they might have added that.
They added that because we were talking about how he picks up the social norms because his conversation with his father, with Draco. Draco says for Voldemort and Valor, and Scorpius responds. So he's picking up.
But visually, he doesn't do it right. So that's where there's like it's Voldemort and Valor or something. There's like a thing that they do. I can't remember. So Scorpius keeps messing it up. He'll be like, Voldemort and Valor. So you can see it visually that he can't do he's the not hand movements
correct.
right.
Okay.
That's cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's cool. Because that's what we're saying. Danielle was pointing out. We don't know the time.
Well, and also, another thing we were talking about, maybe you can set this right for us, was when Scorpius fixes the second task, after the first one's fixed, and he fixes the second one, and then Albus is fine.
This is the Cedric... embarrassment one, right?
Yeah, like it's when they set it right and Snape is kissed by a Dementor, we assume, in the background.
Yes.
Okay. So Albus is okay.
After the regime, yeah.
Yes. So the way it seems like in the book, it seems like they're finding them almost immediately. It was
when they come back. They come right back from fixing the first task. Is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking about the second. Remember when... Because they fixed the first task.
Yes, and then they show up immediately, and then the Dementors are there.
Right, and then they fix this, and then Scorpius fixes the second task.
Correct.
That's the part where we were wondering.
They pop back into the first timeline.
They pop out of the lake, which is cool because there's actually like a pool.
I was going to ask.
So they pop out of the lake, and I liked that. But no, I think I'm trying to remember at that part. That one I don't remember quite as good. But I think it's because they're on school grounds. People see them, and then they're all called. Like that is pretty immediate. Because I think, like thinking back on it, when they're standing there, I believe they're all in their Durmstrang robes.
Yes,
they're in so when they're talking to Harry, Ron, and Hermione.
Scorpius is in the book. He's in the alternate timeline, the Voldemort robes. Scorpius is in the Voldemort robes. Albus is in the Drumstang because he went to another timeline. So I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure.
They're technically wearing like skivvies a little bit when they pop out. So they're wearing swimming outfits.
Okay.
And I think when they pop up, Scorpius doesn't have anything because I think he just drops it in the lake because he's just like.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Oh. Interesting. Yeah. That would make sense because I don't think it's ever commented on like his robes. Nobody says anything to him.
No one says it, but Scorpius goes, "What am I wearing?"
Oh, does he?
Yes.
Oh, I don't even remember that. Okay, I forgot about that. Okay, interesting.
I'm trying to remember that part, but no. So I guess that happens pretty quick because I think the kids are still like wet and in those outfits when everybody comes to talk to them.
Okay, gotcha.
Sorry, my mom's texting me.
Oh, no, that's okay.
And that's basically when they're like, so we really messed up. Like, really did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so do they do that way? Because Albus tries to deny anything that happened. Okay.
It's Scorpius that finally says it, and Scorpius says, I lost you once. I can't do this again.
Yeah.
And he basically says, and you're doing this for a pretty girl. I can't believe you.
Reading this book, and I know it's a lot online, do you feel that there is sexual tension between Scorpius and Albus?
Yes, no.
Yes, no. Okay.
Interesting.
It's weird because Albus obviously does not have that at all. And Scorpius is so sheltered, it's hard to tell if he's just
enamored.
Because they are so close friends. Because he also gets, he can't even talk to Rose Weasley. He like hands her flowers like this with his head turned.
Oh, so cute.
It's not, like I said, there is something strange, but mostly it's a kid who's never had friends who has this close friend and doesn't. Yeah, so there is feelings like that, and you're not really sure. But obviously, he's super obsessed with Rose Weasley at the end too because he keeps writing her love notes, and she goes, "Stop it, Scorpius." And he goes, "She said my name."
See, that is interesting.
That's a new detail too about the love notes and stuff. So
it's nothing big. It's like one sentence at the end, and he goes, "She said my name," and Albus is like, "She still hates you, though."
Right.
Goes,
that part.
I remember that.
That part's in the book, but like love notes and stuff. That's a little different.
So he is trying to get her attention, and it's much more, like I said, and it's hard to tell because you can't tell if he loves him or not, but you're like, wait, he does, though. It's just not...
Yeah. Love him, but maybe not in love.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, like, a lot of people that I've heard, like, interpreting the play, I don't know if they've seen the play or if they just read it, but a lot of people are saying, like, it's just kind of queer baiting, they're saying. And I mean, I don't know. It feels like it when I read it, but now that you're saying this information... I don't know. It's hard to tell.
But that's so upsetting because we are getting such a different story just by reading the script than by someone seeing it.
Yeah.
And that's really upsetting.
Last episode that we recorded, I said I didn't want to see this play, but now after talking to you,
I would recommend it.
I kind of want to see it now.
I wouldn't, but like you were saying, Katie, why even publish this?
Because I understand, because I did write that down. So Jack Thorne, because I was reading stuff about Jack Thorne, like who did this. I wanted to know why he did it. So I did find this quote that he did, and because I'm a musician, so he says plays are like sheet music meant to be sung, but when you've got a cast and crew of pure Beyonce, you shouldn't be basing things off sheet music. And I was like, that makes so much sense.
Yeah,
but why? But, there's people who can't see it. I get it. People love Harry Potter, and they want to be able to take part in Harry Potter.
Well, then why not? I guess I know with theater, they don't want to videotape it. They, the
But
magic is there. But
for Puffs, like, that new play that came out, so they videotaped Puffs.
That's right.
I saw the movie.
I wanted to see it. I couldn't. Yeah.
And it was good. Like, you get the point. I mean, it's an off-Broadway play. There are issues, but it's fun.
That's, because I remember that was a controversial thing when it was announced. Like, oh, well, not everybody's going to be able to see this, so what the hell? And then I remember it was announced that the play was going to be published, or in this case, the rehearsal edition.
Yeah, rehearsal edition.
Which they did say that an official edition came out. Do we know if it ever did?
I don't know.
Because it was supposed to.
I forgot that it was such a big deal that this was the rehearsal edition.
I don't know if it ever did.
I guess because people were so upset by it.
They were really upset with it.
But so many people...
I'm upset with it.
I'm upset with it, but at the same time, it made lots of money. It's still like...
it's a cash grab, like we were saying.
So I don't know. I feel like it would be a big deal if the official script was published. So I'm going to say it's not published. But
it's just... It's a very different world. It's a lot more of what you would expect there to be a secret world that we have that we don't know about. Instead of I love John Williams, instead of this flashy John Williams and there's lights and there's this, it's a muted soundtrack.
Nice.
It's they don't make this flashy flipendo, it's much more, this is our way of life. We move this, we do that. It's way more of what I would have generally imagined the wizarding world to look like.
That's cool.
It's atmospheric and believable. Yeah. It's magic is casual, not a big deal, because they're wizards.
Right. I get what you're saying. Yeah, totally. Because the movies, I guess they feel the need to be so cinematic about it.
Yeah, I mean, because it's a movie.
Right, but I get it. Yeah, I agree with you. I would like to see that interpretation of it.
And they pull you in. There is a part towards the end where the entire audience gets basically pulled in. I may have cried. It was fine.
You definitely cried.
Definitely cried. One of the friends I saw it with, who is a fan, but not quite my obsessive level, said that the best part of the play was my reactions.
Aww.
For when I would cry, because there are parts where when they discover the hidden messages, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, which is a very quick part in the play, and I in the book, I had completely forgotten about it, and I was like, "That's right, they find. That's how they find them."
Yeah, written on the blanket.
Yeah, on the blanket. Yeah.
Well, then, once they realize, no, not the blanket. This is when they realize that there's something to do with Amos. Now, this might not even be in the book, which is why I might not have remembered. So they finally say, "Listen, there's something going on with Amos. He doesn't even think he has this niece.
Oh, yes, I remember.
We need to get through." So they go in his room and they're able to find
this
hideout.
Yeah, this is in there. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that now.
They find her hideout, and spoiler alert. So when they get in, the whole stage goes dark. I'm wearing a white shirt. So it kind of blinks for a second, and everyone turns and looks at me. They're like, "Did you just blink?" I'm like, "Did I just blink?" And then the whole black light comes on, and they make a very big deal when you walk in that you may not use any flash photography. There's a girl at the front halfway through. So there's a girl halfway through at the an intermission. It's no big deal. She's taking a picture with her parents, and the flash goes off, and like 6 security guards run down.
Really?
And I was like, well, that's freaking weird. And then this happens.
Yeah.
And the whole stage lights up, and the entire room is covered in messages. They're above you. They're below you. It's on the ground.
Really?
I have never seen anything like it. It comes through the wallpaper, and it's all these, like, the Deathly Hallows and these symbols, and they had painted the entire building has it.
Oh.
It's incredible. Wow. And that's why they made such a big deal of this little kid taking a picture with a flash, because that ruins it.
Yeah. Right.
Because it's such high-quality paint. When you look at it, you can't see it. I mean, I was looking at the floor, my feet are right there. I'm looking at the floor. I'm picking stuff up. We were right at the first where there's a balcony.
Yeah.
So we were able to see the messages above us because they're under the balconies. And so, I mean, I'm right there and you can't see anything. So when this happened, I was like screaming. It was awesome.
That is really cool.
See, that's really neat. And that's kind of spooky, too.
It was really spooky. Yeah. So this thing that takes 4 seconds in the book, oh, we found a message. Oh, she's not really Amos's niece. This is bad.
Yeah.
Turns into this messages on the walls, 4-minute thing.
Insanity. Yeah.
That's really cool.
That is really neat.
That's how Act 3 ends, right? I believe, because I didn't actually...
Yeah, it is, because I was very verklempt, and I had a minute to recover.
What was that word?
Verklempt.
What the fuck does that mean?
Like,
that is the last scene.
That's cool.
That's... Yeah, here it is, part 2.
Yeah, Voldemort... Yeah, it's right here. Act 3, scene 21, in Delphi's room.
Right, yes. What page is that?
That is 240 in this.
Yeah, here we go. No, anything but that cut to black. Yeah, so...
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da. They go in the room. Yeah, okay, so they go in this room. It's like a Confundus Charm. Yeah, it's funny. So Harry looks at Hermione. I mean, he speaks in Parseltongue, but this is much longer than 4 pages. It's this whole visual spectacle.
Yeah.
Although their faces sync might be my favorite part of this. Look at that.
Their faces sync. And they all turn towards her. She points up. Their collective faces sink further, full of fear.
Oh, man.
Yeah, here we go. Words are revealed on the walls of the auditorium. Dangerous words, horrible words. And it... Like, yes, that's it. But... It's so much more than words are revealed in the walls of the auditorium.
It's more impactful if you get to see it. Yeah. Interesting. Now, here's my question for you. Seeing the play in person, like, because talking about this scene reminded me that Harry speaks Parseltongue when really he shouldn't be able to because that part of Voldemort is not in him anymore.
Now, I was wondering that too because that did bother me. And that's why his scar shouldn't be able to hurt either. But because there's another timeline now. That's what I was wondering. I know a lot of people...
They don't really explain it, though, do they?
They don't. But that's just what I assumed because when you see it, you're like, well, that could be possible. Who knows?
Yeah.
How did that sound? Did they just put a lot of hissing behind words? Just English words?
No, it's no English words at all. It is straight. It's just like the movie, The Parseltongue.
Oh, so you might not... Well...
They kind of...
But you hear him say Harry Potter. And
like, I don't think that's... Yeah.
I thought it said in Parseltongue during the play. In this.
I know, like, Voldemort says Harry Potter, like, in his dreams.
Yeah, I don't think he says that was in Parseltongue, wasn't it?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I could be misremembering.
I don't remember now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But I know, like, obviously Harry definitely speaks it at the end of Act 3.
Yeah.
But I don't know if...
Nothing helped the Trolley Witch.
Yeah. Oh, yes, let's please talk about that.
Please talk about that.
It makes no sense.
In any way, shape, or form.
Luckily, the good thing about it is that it maybe takes 10 minutes.
10
minutes?
But I mean, like, the whole trolley thing. They're on the trolley. It's this. Oh, because it happens real quick. We're going to escape. No, we're not. Oh, yeah, we are. And they get up on the top.
Yeah.
And then, so it is very visually cool because they have the train and they're on the train. That's really neat.
Wow.
And that's really cool. But I felt like in this, it was longer. I think that she had even more lines. When I was going back, I said, because even when it was happening, I was like, I remember her saying a lot more than she did.
Yeah.
So I think they must have cut that because when they saw it, they were like, this is friggin' weird.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was still weird. And the part that they might have explained it in here, no, it's never discussed. I don't even know.
Because she's not a witch. Like,
she's a monster. Well, they say she's a monster.
Yeah.
But you never really see it. The only reason basically the whole thing is that from what I got in the book, I thought that it was going to, like, transform or whatever.
Yeah.
But she doesn't. She's on top of the fucking train with the cart. Like, get back in the trolley.
Oh, so she doesn't have spike arms?
There is at one point where she grows like another set of arms, but they don't look spiky, and it's more of a, I don't even know if they really grow it, but it's more of a shadow thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, it says specifically her arms turn to spikes.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't remember seeing spikes. I could have been.
I feel like you'd remember spikes, so I'm going to believe you on that one.
Yeah.
All I remember
So she
was
goes, like,
I can't believe.
Like those fucking like lightsabers when
Yeah.
you go like this and goes.
Yeah.
That's how I imagine her arms
All
going.
I remembered was why. My notes about it was Trolley Witch just as bad, but in comparison much quicker than it felt. Lots of dialogue, quick succession is exactly the notes I wrote after I had seen it. Because so it did go pretty quick. It didn't feel like that long, but it was still like, this is still
It's funny that her
happening.
cart came up on top of the
so
train
she's
with
on
her.
with the cart. Like,
And she's running after them.
well, they don't really move. So this is going to be a visual thing. I'll explain the best I can. So they're on the train, and the train is in one spot. So
Center
Scorpius,
stage.
yeah. So Scorpius and Albus and the people. So, but the train keeps turning. So, and there's like a big wind to make it look like it's moving.
Okay.
But they're really not, and they never move. So they both stay on opposite sides. I think because it is pretty dangerous because they are pretty high up.
Yeah.
And there are no harnesses or anything. Still weird, though.
Jeez. Yeah, I remember when I read that, I actually used to listen to a podcast. I think it was a MuggleNet podcast, and they talked about that scene, and all of them were like, oh, yeah, that was awesome. And I'm like, what?
Still weird.
Yeah. That sounds awful to me.
Sense to me.
Yeah. I
The best
I hate
part
that.
of it was Scorpius at the end being like, why the hell are we out here? Like, why is this I should never have followed you. This is terrible. Is that what I think?
Yes.
Wait, what's that?
Not part of this podcast. Not going to
Kingdom
talk
Hearts.
about. I love Kingdom Hearts. I'm a
Girl.
ginormous fan. I just digress. I just got every achievement on PlayStation 4. I have beat it in under 15 hours. Didn't die. Didn't do this. I am a master now, and I think I'm going to get a Keyblade tattoo because I have a problem.
You have done everything I've wanted to do. Like,
In my defense, I had a good coach because I had my fiance who wrote down everything I need, every single item I would need to get all the weapons.
Girl.
So we did this
My-
did tag team.
oh
While
my
I did
God.
do the physical playing,
Right.
I had a coach,
Nice. See, I'm playing through Proud Mode right now.
and that's what I did.
And, yeah. I only died, I died in a freaking gummy mission. We won't go too far. We'll just stop there. But yeah, I died in a freaking gummy mission. I was like, wow, I'm embarrassed.
No, that's the easiest thing to die at.
Yeah, so,
I beat every boss on Proud Mode.
nice. I'm getting
beat
there. Yeah.
Sephiroth on Proud Mode.
Oh! Oh my gosh.
I beat
Wow.
Sephiroth on Proud Mode and I cried, and there's actually an achievement for beating him on Proud Mode.
Really?
And
Okay.
I took a picture of it.
I beat
great.
Sephiroth on standard mode in Kingdom Hearts 2, so kudos. But that's about it. So, all right, back to Harry Potter. I would love to talk about Kingdom Hearts, but
No, the other thing that got me, and so there were a few. So the four things that really bothered
Yeah.
me
Ooh,
was the
okay.
trolley witch, the polyjuice potion explanation, which there could be explanations, but maybe it's in Bathilda Bagshot's house. Who knows?
Sorry,
The Fidelius charm, which has always been fucked up and no one knows. And the fact that they travel back in time 40 years when JK has said multiple times that more than a couple days would kill somebody. And they never...
did that? Did she?
It's in Pottermore, so
Okay.
I don't, take that all with a grain of salt, but she wrote it and she said it, and she's never come out as to why this was fine, because this was her idea.
Was
Like-
the play her idea?
Yes, this was based on her idea. She gave them general ideas.
Really?
Yeah, this was mostly her.
I thought they came to her for approval.
This was based off her idea. And she said, I want this to happen. And they were like, okay, we can deal with that.
can I ask your opinion? What do you think of J.K. Rowling today?
Do we have 6 more hours?
Okay. So I think we're all on the same page with that. Because, Danielle and I have a big issue with her backtracking. A lot of things that she says, does.
And there were... okay.
People change.
Yeah,
That's
I
fine.
get it, right? Well, the first time when she was like, well, I always assumed Dumbledore was gay. Well, you know what? He never said anything else about it. You know, it's never really implied. I can see that. You know, I guess I can, but like some of the other stuff, oh, I wish that I had never put, like, I wish I had never put Ron and Hermione together.
Yep.
Like, bitch, stop, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to scream into my microphone. But
That's fine.
Yeah.
cool yourself. I mean, maybe that first time when she was talking about Dumbledore, okay, you know,
Yeah.
I get it. You know, it's because someone specifically asked about it. But stop just coming out and saying stuff. I'm going to do a press conference because I want attention. I don't know.
Yeah.
It feels that
calm
way.
your tits, lady.
She, I don't know if you guys know this, but every year on Twitter, on the anniversary of the Battle of Hogwarts, she apologizes for one of the deaths in the books, which everybody's usually like, oh, that's so cool. But it's like, but there's a reason they died.
Yeah.
Like, it's like she's, like you said, kind of backtracking. No, she's not backtracking in that sense, but it's just kind of...
And like why she says certain things. You know, there was one part where she said, you know, I had killed Arthur Weasley for a while.
Yeah.
And then she went back and redid the whole thing. She was like, no, you know what, we need to have a father figure, so she killed Sirius instead. And the reason she did it was she didn't want Ron and Harry to be the same that way.
Right.
Because Ron comes from this family and Harry comes from nothing. She didn't want to make Ron
Did she
more like
intend
that.
to kill him at the snake bite?
Yes.
Yes, I remember.
Which is great.
Right.
I didn't need to know that.
Yeah.
I mean, I like knowing about it, but
The thought process
don't,
of it.
you know, don't start saying all these things that you were thinking.
Yeah.
Like,
Is it kind of... We were talking about this. I forget if it
Why
was...
doesn't she just write a biography and then people could read it?
Well, a lot of people wanted like a Harry Potter encyclopedia, which I think would be cool.
Which was where Pottermore came from.
Right, yeah.
I mean, because, to be honest, I've read most of Pottermore. I like it. However, the stuff on Professor McGonagall,
Oh, yeah.
I would like 6 books on
Me
that.
too! Yes!
It's
love her
amazing.
character development.
It's absolutely amazing learning about her. And then it's like, oh, here's 7 pages on Petunia. I don't care.
I don't care about Petunia.
She turned into not a nice person.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess she ended up being okay, but like,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Still abused her nephew.
yeah, like I
Yeah.
mean,
You know.
in the end, like far along, I guess she's fine. But I don't want to know about her and Mr. Dursley getting together. Like that was stupid.
Right, yeah.
Don't tell me about that.
It's kind of like we were talking about what's it called? To Kill a Mockingbird and
Yeah, because that was her first.
the first
Stop
draft.
a-
Yeah.
Go
Go set a
stop
Go set a Watchman.
Set.
Yeah.
And I won't read it because you know she never wanted to publish.
Right, and she didn't even give consent
She
toward
had
it.
no consent.
Yeah.
She did not want to publish because it was the first one that she had done. It was the first time she had ever written anything, and she specifically had said, I don't want this published, and they basically tricked her into it.
No, they published it after she died.
Yeah, it was terrible.
No, she was alive.
No, I listened to a different.
That was
because I
incorrect then.
It
She-
was from a literary podcast.
They
They
were
said that
wrong.
it was discussed while she was alive, but when she died, it was published.
No, it was
She
published when she
didn't-
was
Really?
alive.
She was alive, but had no faculties.
Yeah,
She was
yeah.
like comatose when it
Okay.
happened.
Yeah.
And they considered that consent because she couldn't say no.
Because didn't her lawyer have in charge of her estate?
Yes.
And that's why I think that whoever I listened must have gotten confused because it was published by the lawyer, not by family.
Yeah, she was
Because she had
not
control of the
You're
estate.
dead at the time. Is she dead now?
She's dead
She's
now.
not.
Yeah, but at the time, I knew she wasn't, but she had no faculties, and that's why
Yeah.
the family was so upset. Because they believe, you know, just because she couldn't fight it, you know, that wasn't
Right.
fair.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Because
'cause
it's just taking advantage.
right.
And
Yeah.
why would the lawyer do that, though? That doesn't make any sense. Do they
Money.
get...
Yeah, money,
yeah,
money,
but
money.
why would she get money, though, for it? Because it will go to
Yeah,
the
who gets that
estate.
money? Yeah, right. I don't know.
Yeah, unless she gets a yearly stipend from the estate that's written in.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
But, yeah.
So anyways, about the... I'm trying to think about more things about the
Well,
play.
do you have any other gripes written down?
Those are my 4 gripes.
That was your 4
the,
gripes,
the
okay.
Back in time for 40 years, I really want to know why. I want to know why, though. I mean, there were a lot of people that were upset that Snape was alive, but that made sense to me.
I was going to say, that didn't really
Yeah.
bother.
Yeah, because they said that they kill him because
To get the Elder
to get the
Wand.
Elder Wand. But you know, if all this was really going down, he probably would have said, oh, it's because Harry's dead, right? You know, so Harry disarmed Draco, got the wand. You know, so Harry was killed. Voldemort's going to have the wand. He had no reason to kill Snape.
Yeah, but he killed Snape before he killed Harry.
And he killed Snape. He didn't know killing Snape would do nothing.
Yeah.
But still. But we don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of things we don't know. So in this timeline, who knows when something happened?
Exactly.
He could have died before they even went on the adventure.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what we were discussing before. Is like, when did... Because we see... we just recorded this, so we understand. It's very fresh in our memories. In the alternate timeline, when Scorpius is talking about the blood ball, you know, and it's held on Voldemort Day, the Battle of Hogwarts isn't necessarily when it happened now, like in the correct timeline.
They say
it could have been pushed forward.
Yeah, because they say there's the Battle of Hogwarts, but who's to say that Harry was even there? I mean, because Neville wasn't.
He
did
kill
Neville.
Harry died at the Battle of Hogwarts. They said that in the script, specifically. So, but we're saying that the battle didn't necessarily happen in May. It could have happened beforehand, because everything is true up until the Triwizard Tournament, and anything after could be null and void or changed. So, they might not even went hunting for Horcruxes.
Right.
And that's what I figure. I'm like, you don't know. You don't know when that is.
Right.
But that's why...
And Scorpius is too freaked out to find out.
Very true. Yeah.
We're talking about, as well, when they do the time travel, it'd be... Like, why don't they have the memories of that, the current timeline that they're in? This is why time travel is so, like, hard when it comes to writing and watching, because there's so many different theories.
A little bit with Harry. Because there is...
Okay.
Because they don't really go into it. It seems to be about the same. And you can kind of tell that they have the memories, because when he sees Ron and Hermione and they're not married to each other, you know, he's married to someone else, they have all those memories. And he's like, what do you mean? I don't have kids. Yeah, that's what... So they have those memories in that... Because that's the only time that they're really going into the past, is when when Ron is married to
Parvati?
Is she? I can't remember which one. He's married to one of the Patils.
It might be Padma, actually.
It might be Padma. Didn't Harry take Parvati to the ball? Yes, the other one.
Definitely Padma.
Yeah, okay.
So anyway, when they're married, they have these things. He's like, no, I have one son. I don't have a daughter. That's ridiculous. I'm not married to Hermione. So they have these memories.
No. I know what you're saying. Mm-hmm. That Scorpius and Albus have this. We're talking about, like, when... because when Scorpius goes back and he has led a completely different life, why doesn't he have the different life memories? Because he technically grew up in those memories as well.
Or convert to that.
I guess it's because the person who has the time turner is the one moving. I mean, it's the same reason that, you know, Hermione remembered everything from her classes.
Well, but
no one else did.
That's okay. So that's interesting, because then I would think that there'd be another Scorpius walking around. See, this is where I don't like any of this.
But but he's not. But
Scorpius, give it up.
But that's a different timeline. Scorpius is not in the past, because if he was in the past, then yes, there would be a second Scorpius. But the current Scorpius takes the place. Because remember when they come back into the hospital room, as soon as they turn, they burst through the door. It's because now they're a current one. But you would remember everything up to that point.
Okay, so I see now that I'm talking about... So I'm talking about two different things.
Yeah.
Time works... Well, we've talked about this. Time works differently in this play than, I guess, the actual books. Or in the books, like how whatever happens in the past was meant to happen. It's already happened. So when you go...
happen again.
Yeah, it's like
a circle theory.
Yeah, circle. Where in here, it's not like that.
It's a linear.
Correct. So that's why that's where I'm getting... thrown off again.
Yeah.
So this what's happening now wouldn't even have occurred.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, but if
I know, let's not even. Yeah, let's not. Yeah,
that's a lot of brain power.
Yeah,
and there's no explanation, so there's gonna be no gratification coming to an answer.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Oh man, today's episode, folks, is brought to you by Audible.com.
Mm-hmm.
So, ladies and gentlemen listening, you can get a free trial and a free audiobook, free 30-day trial, I should say, to Audible if you visit our link, audibletrial.com/BaBaT. There are over 180,000 titles to choose from. Lots of selection. And, of course, we always recommend the Harry Potter books.
Yes.
Because,
that's
why
what
not?
the season is all about.
So if you haven't read them yet, which, why not? Why haven't you? Go do it.
Actually,
or re-listen.
I know people who haven't read it yet. Can you believe it?
I know. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Damn.
Side note, my mom is going to read them.
Great.
She's never read them. WHYY is doing something called like the Great American
Yes.
Read.
Yeah.
So
I love
altogether,
WHYY.
my parents and I had read, I think, all books except 3 on the list. We had read almost the whole thing together.
That's cool.
So we were like, oh, we're going to challenge each other to read books we hadn't read. Except my dad, who was like, nope, I read my books, I'm out. So my mom's never read Harry Potter. And I had never read, actually, I had never read a separate piece of all the books.
Oh, really?
So I just read that. It was wonderful.
What do you mean a separate piece of all
Separate piece is it's from the 60s and takes place during World War II.
Oh, okay.
The book, like the actual, I had never read it. I know in most schools it's like required reading, and I had never read this
I never
book.
heard of it. I thought you were saying like you're
beautiful.
reading a
It's very
separate piece of
quick.
Harry Potter. I was like, what's a separate piece?
But anyway,
of
it's on that is on this list of best books ever.
50 Shades of Grey is also on there.
Yeah. Well, the reason that they did it is they did
Yeah.
take people who said what their favorite books were, and a lot of people do love it. So even if it's not a great book,
That should definitely
people
be on
love
one of
it.
the polls just to make you uncomfortable.
I've never read. I've
is
never
so
read it.
bad.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I read the first book.
I didn't even know his name was Gray. I thought that was the room, and they were like, "No, the room is red." And I was like, "Oh."
That's funny.
I read the first one, and I swore I will not read anymore. I don't mind. I wouldn't mind seeing the movies, but I was reading
She
it.
annoys me. I don't think I can
does
take
she?
it. She's really obnoxious to me.
The author or
The
actress.
actress.
yeah, Dakota
Yeah,
Johnson.
sure.
Yeah, I think that's her
don't know.
name.
She's somebody famous's kid, right?
That's right.
It's the only reason she's an actress, isn't
Oh,
it?
really?
I forget who, but she is. Yeah, you're right.
But like when I read this, I was reading it and I gave it to my mother-in-law to read.
What?
And she said she read like the first like 10 pages and gave it back to me. She's like, I can't read this. I was like, that's fine.
Yeah, that's like that meme for Beauty and the Beast.
Her
where...
mother is Melanie Griffith.
Melanie Griffith. Okay. Interesting.
So what about Beauty and the Beast?
The meme where Gaston's holding up the book and Belle's looking at him over his shoulder and he's like, this isn't about the color gray, this is porn.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite memes. So you can also read 50 Shades of Grey via Audible.
Listen on all.
Okay, listen is another form of reading. Okay, come on. You can listen to 50 Shades of Grey or Harry Potter or one of the great books. Is that what it's called from WHY?
Great American Read.
Great American Read.
Now you have Audible, Katie.
I do.
What's your favorite? What book would you recommend on Audible?
Gosh. I've had Audible for a very long time. Tell you, the first one I ever had on there, and it's still great because every once in a while they take books that are so beloved and make a huge production of it. And they had done
really? I don't remember that.
Ender's Game, which is one of my favorite books, and they did it as a really large production again.
Like a graphic novel, like a
No, and
graphic
there was nothing.
audiobook, it's called.
I guess
Yeah.
that's what it was, but there was symphonies involved,
Yeah.
and there was a cast of like 20 people who did it, and I was super impressed.
Yeah. So, back to the play.
Indeed.
All right. Is there like what else? Because we talked about a lot of it.
Yes.
So, Katie, who do you
Bouncing.
think the cursed child is?
Oh, good
Because they never
question.
explicitly say it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
So, who do you think the cursed child is?
I was just thinking about this actually, because I think they kind of push it so that it is Delphine, maybe, but I kind of like to assume it's Scorpius because this poor kid.
I feel it's Scorpius.
I
as well.
want it to be Scorpius, and not just because I'm obsessed with him a little bit. It's just such a good character, and there's so many. You're so sympathetic to him, and you really. Even in the book that annoyed me, I still cared about him, and I remember finishing the book and saying he was the best part, and then I got out of the play and I was like, he was the best part. So no matter what way I saw it or felt it,
as Scorpius being the curse.
I just there's something special about that character, and it's hard to put your finger on.
Who do you think this?
Well, I thought it was Delphi as well, or at least the play seems to make it that way. But I also think that the play, it leaves it up to interpretation a little. Because I know you said Scorpius. And I agree with that. I don't think the play is going in a different direction, but I don't agree with the play.
Especially with the cover art.
And that's why because they make it like it's her because of the bird wings.
Right.
I'm not even going to try and say that name again because...
how did we say it?
Okay, well, you saw the... Okay, I said Delphi, but what did you just...
No, the name of the bird.
Oh, the name of the bird. I'm sorry.
Organization.
Augury?
I think they say Augurin or Augurine. Or...
Yeah, I forget.
Yeah, but like if you look at the cover of the script rehearsal, and it's on your sweatshirt as well, like it's on the sleeve.
There it is.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I like that.
Yeah, that looks weird.
It looks a little strange. The rest of it looks cool.
I really like the rest of it,
and it says Lyric Theater on my butt too.
I saw that.
Nice.
Yeah. So you think it's Scorpius? I think it's Scorpius.
Yeah.
Visually, it looks like it's supposed to be Delphi.
Right.
Because she's cursed being the daughter of Voldemort.
Exactly. But I don't,
Yeah.
But I like the Scorpius interpretation much better.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think they do leave it up to interpretation a little bit. Could be Harry, could be Albus. Even though I don't agree, because Albus is the little whiny baby.
It could be Harry, too, couldn't it?
Right,
because he has to relive it all over again.
Exactly.
And jumping to the end, that messes you up.
Yes,
man.
I'm sure it does.
How do you feel about the ending?
You don't see it, but it's one of those parts that I was reading through. You know, so you see.
It's okay. You can take it.
He knows what I'm doing.
Was it Mike?
Yeah. So you see it, but you don't. And when you think you know what's going to happen, and then you just see these actors. Seeing the guy who played Harry, and he was nominated for a Tony, he didn't win. But, I mean, so this guy, we're talking all the actors who do everything for plays throughout the year. You know, so this guy's picked in the top 5 for the whole year. And while he didn't win, like, it gives you a good amount, a good scope of how talented this guy is. And when you see him having to see, so they stand at the edge of the stage, and it's just Harry, Ginny, and Albus, and everyone else like goes to the back, and they're there, but so they look at the audience, and there's flashes and sounds, and you hear it, and it's awful. But seeing him act it out, like seeing his parents die, was so triggering. It was really terrifying because you don't see it, but hearing it and seeing his reaction was insane. And like you think you know because you know what you're going to see. Yeah. But it's just crazy. Yeah. So, and I think that's the biggest thing. You think you know what you're going to see, and then it blows your expectations.
Well, I guess that's a great thing, though, when it comes to this play, because reading the script itself, it's very mediocre.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, it felt like a big old piece of AU to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Alternate universe, in case no one knows.
Oh, yes, yes.
Thanks. And it just... there's a lot of it. There's an exchange between Harry and Dumbledore when Dumbledore says to him... So the way they do Dumbledore is really cool anyway. So he's in the thing... And that's how I kind of assumed that they do the lighting from the back, because you cannot see where his feet are because it's so dark. So I think they do some lighting where it goes probably more at a 90 degree and like a 75. So there's a big shadow towards the bottom. So when he shows up in the portrait, you don't see him. Like you can see him coming, but he has no bottom. But he obviously does.
Interesting.
But because they're lighting, you don't see it. You just see black.
Okay.
So I thought that was really impressive.
How did you feel about the exchange? Because when reading the script in it, in script form, it doesn't feel like their relationship via the book. You know, like I didn't like any of the exchanges between Dumbledore and Harry in the script.
No, it was a little strange, but that last one, when Harry's like, this wasn't the last one. He does this twice, where he's like sitting. There's one where he's in the office, and then there's one where Albus is in the bed.
Yes,
and that's the one when he's trying to talk out whether he's doing the right thing, and Harry gets a little book 5 angsty pants.
Yes.
But you know, Dumbledore is infuriating because it's not really Dumbledore anyway, and also the dude never showed emotion to begin with. So Harry starts getting, he's like, so
is Dumbledore kind of like deadpan in
a little
this?
bit.
Because
but
because in that second scene you're talking about, he's saying he got emotional, like when drinking the liquid from in the cave. It reads as him getting like emotional,
and it is a little bit, but he does say twice, I think, you know, I'm just a shadow, I'm not a real person. And they do that so well, because then Harry is really upset, you know, why aren't you listening to me, all I need is your help. And Dumbledore said, but I'm not really who, you know, I'm just what you are making me. So while he is a little, I mean, it's not that he's completely deadpan. It's not that this dude's a bad actor. It's just the way he does it. You do get the feeling, while you feel like you're talking to Dumbledore, it's not really.
Yeah.
But like I said, the guy who plays Harry, who's now his name Parker, Jamie Parker.
I think it actually, Jamie something.
Just really embodies what you assume Harry would be. This adult who's trying his
best. Jamie Parker, yep.
Yes.
This adult who's trying his best, but he's really trying to raise these kids while handling being a professional and still never really dealing with everything and basically having PTSD.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, in the book, I mean, again, it just doesn't... It seems like he's fine, but when you see this guy on stage, when he walks out and he looks distraught, you're like, okay, maybe he's not doing as well as you thought he was.
Right. Do you think if the script was written more in a traditional script form, like with a specific stage direction, that it wouldn't get the same backlash as it has now? Because, like we were describing before, like we don't have a feeling of the setting. We don't have the feeling of any. You said it at the very beginning. The stage direction is poetic. It's not realistic. Yeah. So it's leaving a lot up to the reader to imagine it themselves, which is fine. That's what you do in a normal novel, like if it wasn't script form. But in normal novels, they do give you emotion. You know, they like tell you someone shouted, or they describe the person's feeling. We don't get that necessarily in this script.
Right. Which I guess, I mean, I'm actually reading a Shakespeare play right now, and there's none of that at all.
Oh, really?
It's just enter stage left.
But it's a simpler thing.
Right.
I feel like, you know, not that Shakespeare is simple, but, you know, you have a better understanding. Everybody knows what it looked like at the Globe Theater. There's dirt. They're in dresses. People were smelly. This is a time where people wore vials of flowers around their necks because you took a shower once a year, and then like the night of your wedding is the only times you took showers. So seeing a script of something that doesn't really exist, I think is harder because you don't know what you're seeing.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why it's always so difficult to read a script. But like, think of the play Our Town. Are you guys familiar with that? Yeah.
Our Town.
I haven't read that since 8th grade, so I probably should reread it, because at the time I hated it.
And it's like back when I did Our Town forever and ever and ever ago, because I graduated forever and ever and ever ago, the way that we did it was nothing. We had no set. We had a black background, and everything was the clothes, and that was pretty much it. So we wore clothes from the 50s. I remember I had like a collar, because I was the narrator. So I had like a collar on and like a button-up shirt, and it was similar because that was all emotion too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting how you could feel that when reading Our Town, and
right.
then seeing it, you still had that same feeling, but for some reason that's missing in here.
Right.
Yeah. What were you going to say about Our Town?
Well, you just said it for me. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say, because I know Our Town is specifically written in a way that's supposed to be interpreted by anybody. Like, I know we had watched, I think, a movie version, not a movie version, but it was on film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw that. I do remember that when we had to read it too.
Yeah, I just remember, like, very basic, like, no sets, or I guess they were sets, just, like, props.
It's really common to do Our Town with pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
So you have to rely specifically on the acting.
Not only just from reading the play, but like you said, watching the play. Mm-hmm. So it's like not the same experience, but like you said, the acting or just reading the script.
Yeah.
So interesting.
But I remember the first time reading Our Town, and it's still the same thing. You know, Emily comes forward. She, seeing her life flash before her eyes. I wonder if it's because, this is getting into a whole different kind of thing, but if it's things that we recognize. Here is someone who is looking at their life after they've died, and so as humans, we see this and we put ourselves in that body. I mean, I think that's why Emily is never described, because we are in the body of this person and we are taking her memories and correlating them back to us. Mm-hmm. This is a fantasy.
Right, it's not the same,
And so I feel like it needs more direction in order to feel that way. I mean, everybody can put themselves and think about terrible things that have happened and wonderful things and the best moments, the things that flash before your eyes before you die. And so we don't need that much description.
You don't need the explanation of it. Yeah. That's interesting.
Which leads into a whole different level of analyzing books. But
yeah, for sure.
So I'm curious, this is going to be a completely different topic. How was the fight scene between Draco and Harry in the kitchen?
Good question.
Actually, it was quick. It was great. Jenny was the best part of it. But the whole thing is so well choreographed. And it happens so much quicker than you think it does. Harry...
It seems like it's so long in this play.
It's quick. I mean, definitely kicking the shit out of each other. But it happens so fast. Harry comes back from seeing Scorpius. Harry comes back from seeing Albus, tells him he can't see Scorpius. He had just seen Bane. I mean, this is all within like a 5-hour maybe period. And he goes back and he's like, no, he can't see him. I mean, and that's what I meant. Like in the book, you think, oh my gosh, it's been forever. And now they're back at school and they can't talk. And there is a little bit of a thing because Harry doesn't go back, I guess, right away because he's having this conversation and he's like, no, I can't talk to you. This is this is Albus. I'm so angry. And so it feels maybe like it's been 24 hours when Harry finally goes back and he's like, listen, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not quite the months that I felt like it was.
But I feel like it is because I feel like reading it, I think our interpretation is correct when it comes to months. Though, because all their exchanges while they're going up and down the staircase and like there's that scene and like Delphi talks about all the letters that she's getting from Albus saying like I could feel your absence in those letters. So it actually had to have been more than 24 hours.
But it doesn't
it doesn't feel
that way. I mean, maybe it was a little bit, it still doesn't seem that long because even when things keep happening, the play only goes from September 1st. Really. It really starts September 1st when they're on the train. So they have a little bit in the beginning, here's the first 4 years.
Yeah.
By the time it ends, it's Christmas.
Right. Okay.
So, or no, it's Halloween.
Halloween,
because they do it because they're able to go back. It's really not... No, it is Christmas because they go back to Halloween, but it is Christmas because they're talking about the holiday break.
Okay.
So it's really not that long of time.
Wow, yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So it's not like it's not like a traditional Harry Potter book where bad things happen on the 1st, and then we have Christmas break, and we have a thing, and then must be June because Voldemort's coming.
Voldemort's back. Yeah.
It's not quite that predictable. It's definitely not the end of the school year. You get the feeling.
Now, I have a question, actually. I heard in the London production, when you say the cast was the same, so I'm assuming it's the same, that Hagrid also played, the same actor played the Sorting Hat. Was that the case for you?
It's hard to tell. You can't really tell because the way they do Hagrid, I mean, he's all up and, he's a big dude. The way they do the Sorting Hat's pretty neat.
I was going to say, please describe that because I hate the Sorting Hat in this.
Yeah.
It's a person. It's literally a person who stands behind them. And he's only in it in a little bit, but he'll, like, go around them and talk like he's the hat, and then he's gone. He's like, whoa, I'm out of here.
Hat out.
Yeah, right.
Did he, like, put his hands on their head or something like that?
Hovered.
He hovers.
Yeah, and the hat hovers.
So there's a person and a hat.
Yes.
Okay.
I think. But actually, I'm having a bit of a brain fart on the hat because it didn't stick out to me. I'll say it that way. Because I don't remember it.
Yeah.
What I remembered the most was you can't hear what the Sorting Hat says to anybody else. So when they put the hat, when it's talking to the other people, you just hear, Gryffindor! Like, you can't hear it, but they make a big enough deal. But I does not come back to my mind.
Now, only because, like, one gripe was they're not doing it in alphabetical order when in the script.
Mm-hmm. They didn't do it in the movies either.
No, they don't do it in the movies.
No, they don't do it in the movies.
No, they do in the book.
In the book for sure. Yeah, in the book.
I didn't know they didn't
because
do it in the movies.
the one they call Blazabeanie's name and then somebody else is next.
Right.
Yeah,
I didn't remember that.
Yeah, because they do Hermione Granger, I think, is first in the movie. And then
and Susan Bones.
Yeah, and Susan
Bones is like
and that's stupid. That's such a small detail that you didn't have to change.
Look.
Yeah, well, the fact that we remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If we remember that's going to happen, then keep it to the thing. There's no reason to call it. Anyway.
Dramatic effect, Brittany.
We're going to get all the way. Yeah, because I think they do Ron before Harry in the movie.
Right, they do. Yeah, Harry's last.
Do they do it in the book?
In the book, it's definitely ABC order.
In book, it's ABC order.
Yeah. It is indeed.
Weasley's waiting forever over here.
I know, right?
Yeah.
What was I going to say about that? The hat. Oh, and do they change up his song at all? Because it's very childish in this. Because remember in the first...
Yeah, he does the song.
It's very cryptic. And like he introduces the houses. Like, so the first years know what's going on. Mm-hmm. And he sends a cryptic message at the end, the Sorting Hat. They don't really do that in this. And I felt it was like childish. To me, it felt childish.
Yeah, I just thought, it was just poorly written.
You're so focused on how Albus is going to shit his pants.
That you don't really pay attention to what...
Interesting. Yeah,
that is interesting.
That's a very different experience, obviously, from reading it. Because when you're reading it, you're paying attention to what the hat is saying. Where in the play, you might be more paying attention to Albus and his
correct
reaction.
Because that's something. See, that's why it's translating so poorly.
Right.
Because we're reading it as it's written, not as it's visualized.
So the more we're talking about this, the more I wish this was never published.
Yeah.
I walked out of there feeling that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I might be pushing my feelings onto you on that one, but I don't think they should have done it.
It's a good point to make, though, because for people reading this, as you said before, you don't want to go see the play.
Right.
You know, it sounds very problematic. And yes, there are still problems in it.
Music production, Imogen Heap.
Yeah.
It is.
And I never even looked at that, and I am so interested now because that gives such depth to the play, I guess, in a way that I never imagined.
There's a moment that really got me, and it's when they're on the staircases, and Albus is on one, and Scorpius is on the other, and they're both sitting with their head in their hands, and it's the bottom chords to hide and seek, and you can hear her voice in the back, and I'm like sobbing, and it just was a whole different experience, because if you know that song and how sad it is, and their relationship, and that hit me pretty good.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I haven't listened to that song in a while, so now... Yeah. You have to check that out again.
It's so good.
Yeah, it is. Wow.
The other part I did not remember from the book, which is why I am scrolling on through it right now, was when they run into Cedric finally in person.
Yes.
And I liked it enough when I saw it in person, but I cannot for the life of you remember how it happened in the, like, what it looked like in the book.
It's in the second half of Act 3. So, yes, Act 3. So
It's like you just read that.
yeah. We talked about the first part of Act 3 because I haven't, even though I've read the play before, I haven't reread Act 4 yet. So I don't remember lots of things.
This is when she's going nuts. Mm-hmm. I'm ready to die if I'll stop Voldemort from returning. Yeah, and that's the Scorpius seeing Voldemort like changes him entirely, and then he's able to have conversations with people. Said it once, said it again. Scorpius is the best part of this book.
Thank God.
Yeah,
he's wonderful, and it really is. It's something to see. It's a testament to how good of an actor he is too, and I understand why they wanted to make sure they had the same cast.
That's interesting because when I've looked up photos to use for the podcast, I've seen a lot of pictures of the new cast. So I don't know if they're like taking headshots for like the new cast coming in soon.
It would be about time. Well, in England they have the new cast already.
So maybe that's them.
Yeah, because when they all left to come to America, they have a new cast over there.
Gotcha. Okay.
I cannot find a picture online of what the Sorting Hat looks like.
I know it's a person.
Yeah, I was just curious what he looked like.
Well, that's the thing. So I just have to bring this up, but like when I was listening to the episode of Witch Please, and they were talking about the backlash for the casting of Hermione as a black,
and she's good,
right?
She's good, and there's one point where you think you're like, oh, now she's just Minister of Magic, and you don't even pay attention that, in my opinion, that she was black. Like that didn't even, because it was just more of a why is she so stuck up? What is this? And then at one point, she has to bother Harry because he's not doing his paperwork. And she basically says to him, you're always going to be, 12 years old. And Harry was like, well, can't you do it? And she goes, no, I'm Minister of Magic now. I can't keep doing your homework. And I was like, well, there it is. And then she, like, takes candy off his desk and leaves a bunch of, some of Ron's candies. And I was like, that's Hermione. Like, there it is. So there she is being Minister of Magic. But there's a couple scenes where she's still Hermione.
Yeah.
She's still the same.
That's
We
great.
talked about that before. The fact that it doesn't matter as long as they're good actresses and actors.
Well, yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people had this image of Emma Watson in their brain that they just like felt very attached to.
She is very beautiful, so I understand that.
But the thing I wanted to bring up is that Hagrid, at least in the original cast, is also played by a black actor, I was told.
Oh, is he?
On Witch Please, they talked about it.
He wasn't in this one.
Okay, so that's interesting.
I
hope I'm saying the right information.
Not that you can see his face generally. Maybe he was. I don't know. There's a lot of hair going on. Because the Sorting Hat was African American.
Which is, and that's supposed to be
the same guy.
person.
Well, I say you couldn't.
But you couldn't,
Couldn't see.
Okay.
You couldn't see him.
It's
That's
just
for
interesting,
sure.
I'm
There's a lot of hair.
No backlash about that, though. So apparently only Hermione can't be black.
Well, yeah.
Once you have someone like that, I mean, yeah, you can go back and you can see where she says, oh, Hermione has dark skin. Maybe you shouldn't have cast Emma Watson. I freaking love Emma Watson.
I don't think it said she had dark skin.
It says in the first book she has darker skin.
But that can mean olive.
It can mean a lot of things.
Here's the thing.
Because another time she says white skin.
She says pale, she says she's tan. The thing that you have to remember is that every time there's a black character in the Harry Potter books, she outright says they're black. Yeah. And that is what we're looking for. The fact that J.K. Rowling felt the need to point that out and didn't point it out with Hermione is a blatant...
Correct.
And just such an angering thing.
Because you don't know that Ron... They don't say Ron's white, but you know he's white.
Exactly, and that's why I don't like J.K. Rowling, because she tries to, like, benefit. She's like, oh, she was always black. She could be whatever you want. It's like, okay, stop doing this, okay? There's nothing wrong with having a black actress, but stop pretending that you're this triumphant hero
Yeah. I mean, and the play is not, I mean, yes, I get that it's canon, but it's a different visualization.
Right.
Like I said before, you know, the way they make it so different. There's atmospheric music and there's synth everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not like we're John Williams' Golden Light coming down.
Chris Jarman is Hagrid and the Sorting Hat. I think he's African.
He's an African dude.
Yeah, so...
Yeah. Not that you could see Hagrid's face, TBH. There's a lot of
He's
hair.
so hairy.
He's so far back. And,
Yeah.
like, when you see... Every time you see Hagrid is something so dramatic. The stage is very dark. So you know he's there. Obviously, it's Hagrid. Like, but...
Oh, because that's right. He's not really in it. Like,
No, not really.
That's right. What do you think?
I
Okay.
still could not find this part. I'm just going
Wait,
through
Brittany,
it.
can I see your copy of the book?
Sure, there you go.
What do you think about so many characters being left out of the story? Like Teddy Lupin.
Found it.
Oh, you found it?
Oh,
Okay,
goodness.
never mind.
That's amazing. Thank you for being my good luck charm. Yeah, so it... I mean, because they don't really know Cedric anyway.
Oh, wait. Okay,
But
so that's
She's
what
talking
you're
about the
looking-
scene, yeah.
I
when
wanted
they
to
meet
see...
Cedric.
Because
forgot
it's
about
so
that.
heartbreaking because... And here, it does say it. You know, can I go on? Can I finish the maze? As the boys look at Cedric, they are heartbroken. And it's like, okay, that's one sentence. But after them watching him walk away, like, it is crushing. And they do say it, like, desperate to say something, unsure what to say. Mm-hmm. But the whole feeling with the lighting, and you're like, this kid's gonna go die now.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
Yeah.
I kind of imagine the music would be more like a funeral march at this point when he's
I
like...
don't think there's any music at this point. I think it's completely quiet. I'm trying to remember. I think there's nothing.
That's
Wow.
great.
It's terrifying. And the whole thing is
even
black.
more impactful.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. I love that choice because I think a lot of times, like, they'll use music to, like, almost manipulate how you feel about something. Mm-hmm. And I really love that there's just nothing there.
Yeah.
If it is like that. So that's cool.
You were asking how you felt that the missing people, like Teddy Lupin.
I love Teddy, and that annoys me. You're correct.
Or no, or like when they're at the first task, and they see Fleur, and nobody recognizes, like, oh, like Albus says, that's my aunt. Like
He doesn't say it.
Yeah, he doesn't say it. Or just things like acknowledging, like, the Weasley family, no Bill, no Fleur visiting.
But you know who they acknowledge of all people? Charlie. They pretend they're with Charlie Weasley. That's how they get in.
Oh, that's right.
Because they say, oh, we're with Charlie Weasley. And so Albus is able to say all this stuff, and Scorpius was kind of like, oh, that's right, that's your family. Yeah. But no one says anything. And, like, even the whole scene, because they make a big deal in the epilogue that Harry's raised Teddy like a son. Like, where the friggin' is he then?
That's right, they cut that out. Cause,
Even to just have him at the train station at the beginning.
I mean, the whole part with him making out, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
because he's being a 17-year-old kid. Like, that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's also with Bill and Fleur's daughter, Victoria, or Victoria. I don't know her name.
It's something French. It's a French-ass
something.
name.
Yeah.
French-ass name.
I like that better.
Do you know what we're referencing?
Nope.
It's, Saturday Night Live?
It's Mad TV.
Mad TV.
It's a French-ass name, Yvonne.
Yeah.
Oh, is that?
Yeah.
Oh, what's like the guy who's
Can
saying...
I have your number?
Yes.
Can I have it?
Have
Yes.
number?
Oh, I do know that. Okay.
Where's your boyfriend? Is he getting candy? Is
Yeah.
he coming back?
Yeah, Mike
Where
and
is
Ike's.
it? Yeah, Mike and Ike's. Got your
Nice.
hair up in a pony. That's a French-ass name.
I haven't seen that in years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm sad that I didn't know that reference.
That's all okay.
But yeah. All right. I don't know.
So, actually, just now that I'm staring at this, the way that they present Cedric is really good because he is, like, he's still really nice. And he's like, are you a task? You're a task, right? And they're like, yes, we are. Look at how tasky we are. and so even after he frees them, you really get, even if you don't know anything else, you're like, Cedric is a nice kid.
Right, yeah.
So that contradicts what we were saying before. How the fuck does he become a Death Eater? Like, just because he's embarrassed twice, he's gonna, like, become a Death Eater?
And it doesn't...
seems so out of character.
I thought that was strange, too. But then you think about how messed up Amos is. So if Amos is in his ear telling him this kind of stuff,
maybe
you never know.
Well, Amos is messed up because he lost his son.
Mm-hmm.
He
well,
didn't
that's
get messed
true.
up
Yeah.
prior to that, though. You know, so that's like it. Just I feel like yes, the characters aren't shallow on stage, but in this book, the way they're described, I don't think that they have the depth that they should. But we're not seeing them
with their whoosh of light and smash of noise.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So it just. I think it'd be a great visual and emotional experience to like have, but I don't think this holds up to the story.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm just gonna put it that way.
Yeah,
I think that's my final thoughts when it comes to this. Having read the entire thing and where it leaves off, I don't think this holds the kind of depth and emotion I have for this series. I feel like this honestly was just to grab money, a tack on, so it doesn't die.
And like I said, like it's a really fun thing, but it's great, and the tech is amazing, and I love it, and I love the characters. But when I think of it, I'm not going to put this in my Harry Potter repertoire.
Yeah.
What about you, Danielle?
No, I feel the same way. I mean, like you're saying, like I think a lot of the play is the technical achievements and the stuff that they can do, and that's great, and the music choices and the actors. But like at the end of the day, what is the story? What is the script saying? Not that much, and it doesn't do much with. It has these emotional moments, which is awesome. But like, at what cost to the original 7 books? At what cost?
At what cost?
I almost wish it was more. And I get that it's Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Like, I get that his name's in it.
Yeah.
Like, he's supposed to be. He was in it a lot more than I thought he was going to be. Honestly,
okay.
Like I felt when I read it, I got much more of the Scorpius Albus thing, and I knew they were in it, obviously. But seeing it, it felt more like he was one of the main characters. But I wish that he was. I would like to see more of Harry dealing with this because.
Yeah.
He had a pretty messed up childhood generally and turned out to be an okay person, but when you see him, you see that he is really struggling, and I would like to see more of that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I think that's really interesting because we've had conversations about this, how we wish it would focus in.
Right,
Because this is so sprawled, which is why it's in 2 plays, 6 hours long. You know, everything's so sprawled. If it was focused in on a moment.
Yeah, and if I can just say one more thing before we get to your final thoughts.
No, that was basically it for me.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say that, like you're saying, like, trimming the fat of the story, you know, the bricks in the backpack thing, just stuff like that. I wish that if this played just, for me personally, I would cut the time travel stuff. Because I love the relationship with Albus and his father and with Scorpius. I would love to see that portrayed.
There was a little too much, and it started to turn into too much of the, oh no, I messed up the past trope.
Right. So it's like not focused, and that's why because like you said, I would love to see Harry struggling with this. That would be so cool, and see his son in Slytherin
and
that conflict
bit that they do is great.
Yeah.
But it's not the main part, and I wish that it had been.
It's conflicted with itself.
I get that the whole thing of the story is Albus can't handle that his dad does accept him, because he does say it. He's like, listen, that's fine. This is fine. So Albus pretty much makes up in his brain that he has this terrible childhood that wasn't actually that terrible. Then Harry can't deal with him being terrible, and then he makes all these stupid decisions. Like that was it to me in 2 sentences.
So even though Harry's like being a dick, like at that one part, he is a dick for a son. Like,
he was so obnoxious.
Yeah.
Like, if I had been Harry, now seeing it, would have locked that kid under the friggin' steps. Jeez.
I would have smacked him upside the head.
Seriously.
And like, you know, Jenny would be fine with it because she had 6 brothers, or how many? I think I might have
bazillion.
You're right, yes.
Yeah, she had so many brothers. You know the Weasleys smack them upside the head once in a while. Like, their kids. So that's gotta
You
happen.
don't become Molly Weasley and let your kids just slide by.
Seriously.
Not at all. So I would, if that were me, that kid would have been smacked upside the head and grounded. And throwing the blanket across the room when your father just told you how emotional it was.
I know.
How dare you?
Yeah, I would have smacked the shit out of that kid. And then, but Ginny's not really a help. She's like, you have to learn to understand your son.
Right. Yeah.
And
that's out of character.
Yeah, that's out of character. And she's so sarcastic other times. It's
Right.
yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
We're picking this up again.
Yeah. This is what happens. We go on rants, and then it's 4 hours later. And
so what it comes down to is the play was visually good. And it was very emotional and well produced. And I think the consensus is that it just doesn't jive with the first 7. Is that right?
I would, yes.
Visually, I would say it's a nice add-on, but I would not call it Harry Potter 8.
Which on Goodreads it is. I don't know if you noticed that.
Weird.
Really?
I don't know.
I'll bring it up while you guys are talking.
I'll consider it canon. I'll take it. That's fine. But I'm not going to call this Harry Potter 8.
Oh, I refuse. It's canon. I do not. This is definitely... definitely like a,
Harry Potter number 8 below it.
Yeah. No.
Below the title.
What?
I know. It's disturbing, to say the least. So, all right. I think that finishes up our discussion then.
Well,
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on the show,
thank
Katie.
you.
It was
So glad I
great.
got to come on.
This was actually really great because I'm so glad to hear your perspective after seeing the play. And now I really want to see it.
I would recommend it to pretty much anyone. And there's several people. My dad is a very large Harry Potter fan. And when I came back, I saw my dad the next day, and I was like, listen, I know you hated this.
The book.
But,
Or the
and then
script,
I started to describe it, and then because the Tonys was the next night. Like, I had literally seen it
really?
Saturday, and then the Tonys were the next night. That's why I was over, because my cable's not set up, and I need to watch Tonys. So then they do, like, a quick thing where they show the Polyjuice Potion, which I didn't even discuss. How they do the Polyjuice Potion is insane. I don't know how they do it, but it literally takes a second. They pull their arms in, the hood goes up, and there's a new person. There's no trapdoor. And that's what I started to assume that it had to do with the lighting, because the way that Dumbledore came up and you didn't see him. Obviously, there was someone back there and you don't know, and they go under and they are able to move them back and forth without seeing these people. It's crazy.
Wow.
And it's so well done, but that's why I said, I was like, once he had seen that, so they showed some footage. Mm-hmm. And then they did that on stage as a presentation, because Jamie Parker presented an award, and that was how he got on the stage. Was he had been, I want to say it was Josh Groban, I can't remember exactly, and then he polyjuiced into Jamie Parker on the stage.
That's cool.
And my dad went, what?
So this sounds like this play was really innovative. Because it had to be magical. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like they were trying a lot of new techniques that they haven't really done a lot of.
I was going to say, from my perspective, from seeing Broadway shows, I find that they're not that they're not innovative, but they're not too techy. They're changing sets and stuff, and you can see the moving parts.
But it is starting to get that way. Because I just saw Les Mis, which I know Brittany also saw, and they called it a new retelling. And it wasn't new. I mean, because it was told a new retelling of Les Mis. So we were a little concerned when we were going to go. But it wasn't that it was new. It was just they were using this tech to do it.
Oh, is that what was different about it? Okay.
So that had never been in there before. The first time I had seen Les Mis, there was an actual boat. Like, they had pulled a boat, and they're on the boat. So now they use the lighting and the sounds to simulate the boat. And there's the screen and the water. And I saw Anastasia. Anastasia was very similar. Mm-hmm. I know that didn't get the best reviews. I liked it. I thought it was fun, and the way they do it is, back to Disney, is similar to the Haunted Mansion. So when you do the Haunted Mansion, if you've ever seen the Haunted Mansion, and you see when they're in the ballroom and they're dancing and they're ghosts, they're actually in another room and they're using mirrors to reflect it in. They did that with Anastasia. So when they're dancing around, they're actually off the stage and they're reflecting them in the same way. And it was amazing.
That's
really
cool.
And there's a lot of fire. So the whole back is the same way, where it's not really a back, it's a screen. So when they were in St. Petersburg, it had a different background than, instead of just moving, like, oh, we're going to pull the sheet in, we're just going to change this background screen. And they used windows, I guess. So at some point they look like windows, at other points they look like walls, and those were screens too that you couldn't really tell. So I guess the screens were off. And then when they turn them on, you can see that it's actually a screen. So they turned it on and it was fire. So instead of using real fire when they're burning down the palace, they show the fire through these windows.
Okay.
So they're getting there and it's cool. And I think it's because people want to see movies these days.
Yeah.
No one wants to see
That kind of makes me sad.
And I love musicals.
Yeah.
But people would rather sit at home instead of going all the way up and seeing this. So that's why now you need these amazing actors. I mean, the girl who plays Hermione...
cinematics.
The girl who plays Hermione, she was the only one who had been famous before, because she was in a few movies. I'd seen her before.
Oh,
I'm not even going to say her name because it's hard. Juman Lezzy.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
But I can spell it. But she had been in a couple movies. She was the only one that was...
I want to look her up now.
A real... I mean, they're all real actors.
But, yeah, we know
the one who was...
But on the screen, yeah.
So,
Noma... Drama.
I think it's like Juman or something.
Dumezweni?
Dumezweni? I just make it a sound.
Dumezweni?
Sure.
Oh, interesting.
They try to get more famous people, like Michael Cera and Chris Evans. Now, all these people are doing... Tony Shalhoub was just
Michael Cera's in?
Michael Cera has actually done really... Well, not these, but like in different plays. Now you're bringing these...
I didn't know he was in...
So actually, he's starting to do a lot of plays. He's been nominated for like 3 Tonys in the last couple of years.
Wow, that's cool.
Maybe it was 2, but he's doing really well for himself as a play actor.
Nice.
But so now they only get people there by getting these
known
gimmicks.
I was going to say,
like Mean Girls.
Oh, God,
I mean, okay. I mean, it's fun and it's cool, but like, that's how you're...
Dylan said Legally Blonde was really good.
Legally Blonde was really, really good.
Oh, so you decided to?
Sorry, guys. I've seen it. I don't like it. But then again, I saw a high school production.
I didn't like the movie. I was never a huge fan of the movie, but then I saw it here, and I was like, okay, this is fun.
Yeah.
Like, this is okay. I like it.
It's fun.
I mean, I wouldn't put it in my favorites ever. Or like Newsies. Here's something people know.
Newsies, yeah.
Newsies had a solid 30 minutes of tap dancing in it, so I was sold.
That's funny. That's interesting, yeah. Because that movie, well, actually, we won't even get into it, so never mind. I won't even say. All right. So, thank you again, Katie, for coming on. This was a great discussion. It was awesome.
I loved it. So thank you.
And, of course, let the listeners know, of course, that we can be found on our website. Mm-hmm. Ooh, let's ask Katie how she says.
Yeah. So, how do you say BaBaT?
BaBaT. I think I just say...
Like rabbit? That's cool. That's a third interpretation.
Yeah. So is it BaBaT or BaBaT?
I always say, in my mind, I say BaBaT. Or actually, I say like BaBaT because I'm from Philly. So
BaBaT.
BaBaT.
I like third interpretation now. We can see how many we can get.
Yeah.
That's great.
So like a bunny rabbit.
Right.
So
BaBaT.
BaBaT. That's so funny. It's like Elmer Fudd.
Thank you.
Oh.
Bunny wabbits.
It's bunny wabbits. Babbits. So, BaBaT, BoBaT, or BaBaT.
BaBaT? Who said BaBaT?
You know what? Can we tell her the story?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, actually, let's tell her after.
Yeah,
okay.
You said it 3 times.
Yeah, that's true. We did. We won't say it again.
Then
Listeners
I probably
know.
heard it, but I don't remember.
We'll tell you when we're done. So our website is BaBaTpodcast.com. Mm-hmm. You can listen to us on our website or on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, Podbean, all kinds of other catchers. Thank you.
You're welcome. I learned that from you.
Yes. You can find us on social media. We are on Facebook, a group and a page. Mm-hmm. We're on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Goodreads. We have a voicemail. We have an email. Did I miss anything?
Nope.
Okay, cool.
It's pretty much an easy way to We are on all forms of social media.
Yeah, but it's fun to say everything.
And with that,
yeah, we want to thank you, Katie, for doing our artwork as well.
oh, that's right. Yes,
Thank you.
And who does our music?
Kevin MacLeod.
MacLeod.
We used to say MacLeod. It's a long story. Anyway, or I said MacLeod, not Brittany.
I don't even know who it is.
Yeah.
So.
All my life that I've heard of him, I called him MacLeod, and it's MacLeod. So
I've used him before too.
There
Thanks,
you go.
buddy. Thanks for being the best, non-royalty free.
yeah,
There we go.
Music guy.
exactly.
It doesn't sound like you made it in GarageBand.
Exactly. And with that, we will end this episode. So thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.